welcome. I'm your host Jonathan, and today we have another special show planned for you. Our next guest, he's a Liverpool fan, just like ourselves. He has a platform similar to ours, but a bit different. If you're interested to see what they do, please stay tuned and watch the video. Guys, also remember to please like, share, and subscribe. This is the only way we're gonna help the channel grow. Also, special shout out to AC's Customs for helping us design our shirts. We have a few shirts that we're working on. AC's Customs is busy helping us with that. So, guys, I'm really excited for this one. Let's get into this. Sershin, welcome to the LFC crew. For the people who watch our show that don't know you and what you guys do, can you tell us what the South African Kop is?
Fantastic, John. It's a pleasure to be here. Just good morning, good afternoon to all the guys watching, to your viewers, whenever they're going to catch this. It's always a pleasure chatting to fellow Liverpool supporters. I must just say, before we delve into the South African Kop stuff, I love what you guys are doing. You know, I hope more and more people subscribe and follow you guys. I think we need more supporters groups. And yeah, just to sort of touch on a little bit, talking about Liverpool supporters groups. We're an independent group of supporters. We're obviously very passionate about Liverpool. I think how we started off was obviously a group of friends. We would go to games and watch those games, and we're big on singing and things like that. And we just felt, obviously during the lockdown, in particular, we wanted to. Well, actually, let me take a step back. Before the lockdown, we felt that there's a lot of places where people congregate and watch games, a lot of Liverpool supporters, but they do it in kind of like these pockets. And unity is strength, right? So we said, well, let's try and get connected with more and more Liverpool supporters. Try and find these places that people sort of go and watch, and obviously around Johannesburg. So initially, it sort of started off as the Johannesburg Traveling Kop, and we would go to different venues and meet other Reds. And obviously we have a WhatsApp group, and we have a lot of social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. We've got a lot of content out on those. But yeah, it was just really about connecting people. And one thing we are big on is developing the singing culture, because it's so strong with Liverpool Football Club. And we're really passionate about it. And we thought a lot of people maybe don't know the songs, or they know some of it. And so we really enjoy kind of going out and singing and meeting Reds and really just talking football. That's kind of what we do. That's kind of what the South African Kop or the Johannesburg Kop did. And then obviously that kind of evolved and grew into the South African Kop during the lockdown, where we couldn't go to venues. Obviously, for obvious reasons, during the pandemic, we couldn't physically go, and we wanted to maintain health and safety protocols, etc. But we felt that we still wanted to connect people and connect Reds. So, well, a couple of us thought, okay, well, maybe we can get some people associated with the club to chat to fans. And really, I think people appreciate that. People appreciate the human contact, whether it's virtually like this. And that's what we set out to do. And we started off with Kieran Molyneux from Boss Night. So he was our first as guest on there. And it was great having Kieran on, because we thought, we wanted the songs being sung, and like I said, we're very passionate about the song culture and so forth. So that was something that we did with Kieran, and then it kind of just grew from there. We had the voice of Anfield on, and he plays the music at the games at Anfield. So that was brilliant. I was fortunate enough to meet him when I went across to Liverpool as well. He's a great guy. I mean, all the guys that we've met have been phenomenal. And then it just sort of evolved there. Journalists associated with the club, or independent football journalists. Melissa Reddy's been brilliant. We've had, I'm not getting his name now, Jimbo. James Pierce. Sorry, apologies. The name just kind of eluded me there for a second. So we've had journalists on, and probably the two. I don't want to sort of quantify importance of people, but we've had Peter Moore, the ex-Liverpool CEO. He was kind enough to join us, and we had a fantastic session with him. And probably one of my favorite was John Barnes. I know you guys did a wonderful session with John, and he's so, he's so knowledgeable, he's so eloquent, and not just about football, just about lots of different aspects, diversity, etc. We covered all of those different things. So it's just been great, connecting, and then that's how kind of how we sort of met in a way as well. And I've been connected to lots of other media outlets, or we've been connected to lots of media outlets, supporters clubs, platforms, etc. We've got fairly good sort of relationships and friendships with the official supporters clubs. Those guys do some wonderful work. And we've chatted to the guys in Cape Town. I mean, Neil is there in Cape Town, Linus is there in Durban, Mahesh. There's just been some phenomenal stuff that everybody's just looking at connecting Reds and growing Liverpool Football Club. And we want to just be able to show Liverpool how big the support base is here. And I think one of our big dreams is to try and get a preseason game going. So that's kind of where we at. I could have given you the little marketing spiel that we normally do. Do you want me to kind of just hit into that? If anybody's interested. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is how we start the webinar. So, here's to the crazy Reds, the rebels, the unbearables, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. But the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They help to push this club forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius, because the ones that are crazy enough to think that they can change things are the ones who do. So the South African Kop are the crazy ones. We are the dreamers, and our dream is to connect every single Red in South Africa and bring the Liverpool football community together. We're an independent group of supporters whose mission is to connect like-minded Reds. We're big on Liverpool football culture, including singing and creating great matchday vibes. And we've been running some topical LFC webinars with people associated with the club. So that's kind of our little intro. Yeah. And I must just put in a little reference there. So obviously we've borrowed some stuff from Apple there. They're being rebels and so forth. But I think you get the crux of what we're trying to achieve. And really we do hope that other media outlets, platforms, supporters clubs, both official and non-official, are able to grow and just show their love for Liverpool in the country.
Definitely. Look, when I hear that marketing part of yours, when I join these sessions, I know it's going to be epic, because the guests that you guys get on is always amazing. My favorite, I've been in your sessions, my favorite was James Pierce. That guy is so down to earth. But then again, all the guys that came onto your platform, John Barnes, James Pierce, Melissa Reddy, who else was there? Chris Pajak from Redbin TV. Yeah. Those were the sessions that I had. All awesome guests. So when I hear that part, I'm just rubbing my hands together, because I know that it's going to be awesome. But
absolutely, I mean, Chris was amazing. James was amazing. Gags Tandon from Anfield Index, I mean, did some amazing stuff on stats. And like I said, it's also an opportunity to appreciate the great work that Reds are doing globally. Other supporters groups, other platforms, they're doing some amazing. The Anfield Rap, where John Gibbons on, he was amazing. I mean, the guys are doing some phenomenal stuff. We had a sports scientist, Simon Brandish. I mean, the guys are really, the love and passion for the club just sort of really extends beyond people's professional boundaries, and it really is amazing what the guys are doing. They're doing some phenomenal work.
Definitely. But for Ferris watching, what the South African Kop provides to us fans, basically the chance to interact with the people that you see in the media, that you see on TV. Sershin, if our Reds wants to join a session, what do they have to do? How can they get in touch with you? How do they get added to the group, so that when you do get a session, they are notified and then they can come on the platform? Because it's not just watching, you're also able to interact with the people that's there. And for us in South Africa, especially, it's a bit difficult for us to interact with people that's in the UK or all these famous guys. But what you guys managed to do is get all the Reds in South Africa that are able to join or want to join, for them, get them into the session. And then if you're brave enough, you can ask a question and then interact with these people that you always see in the media. So how can our Reds get in contact with you if they want to join those sessions?
Yeah, great question. Great question there. So, just before I touch on how to sort of get in touch with us, I think it was a very deliberate kind of, model that we employed where we wanted people to have the ability to interact and have it as a two-way conversation. We didn't just want it to be this webinar where people are presenting and but by no stretch of the imagination is that bad. That's not a bad thing. But we just wanted for people, just everyday people, everyday Reds that are living here that have questions. And, Liverpool supporters are some of the most intelligent football supporters that I might seem biased here, but their football knowledge is phenomenal. And, they're never far away from opinions, whether it's players, the manager, systems, formations, tactics, all of these kind of things. You can have, wonderful conversations with people. And we just thought, let's provide that platform and that opportunity for people to do that with people they look up to within the sort of Liverpool community globally. But yeah, if you want to get in touch with us, obviously, South African Kop is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. What we normally do is we would normally post an event. Obviously, there's a registration form that you'd fill out, and then we'd add you onto the WhatsApp group. And then, we would send the link out and you join the webinar if you can. And we look forward to seeing more and more Reds. Obviously, we haven't had anything in the recent weeks, but we are obviously looking at things in the future, and the guys can keep their eyes on that. In terms of the previous content that we've recorded, and we are looking at kind of obviously maybe getting that out onto YouTube at some point potentially, so the guys can still catch some of the older stuff that we've done and enjoy that as well. But yeah, that's basically what it is. And if you're not even brave enough to maybe ask a question face to face, you can type it in the chat function. We normally ask people to type it out anyway, and just so that we adhering to all the values and the ethos of the club itself, and we want just to make sure that we adhere to all of those things. I mean, banter and stuff is okay, but we firmly believe that we are pro Liverpool and anti no one else.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, if you didn't catch Sershin there on how to get hold of him, either you can go back on the video, or if you lazy, I will post all the information in the description field, and then you can check them out. Sershin, now on to the big news of the day. This is recorded Friday the 18th. The Champions League draw took place today. I watched the 2002 final at home with my dad, with my wife. The family was there. We were watching it. I was devastated with the events. We all know how it turned out. But Sershin, you watched it basically in 3D. You were there. Your hurt and multiplied or just amplified. What went through your mind when you saw Liverpool through Real Madrid and the first leg is away at the Bernabeu?
Wow, where do I start with this? So firstly, I was quite fortunate that a mate of mine was wanting to go, and he said, I thought it was a joke. He was like, let's go to Kiev, and he was pretty serious, and he was like, well, how do you go about doing it? So I thought he was joking, and then he was serious, and I was like, okay, well, if you're in, I'm in. And then it was flights, and then trying to buy tickets, off these sites, and trying to get hold of tickets. It was crazy. Visas, I mean, one of the hardest probably visas that you can ever get is kind of that particular visa. I remember standing in the embassy, shame, and there are lots of Reds that didn't manage to actually make all the arrangements and get there eventually. So I think I felt I was really fortunate to be one of the few that ended up going. But I can tell you it was such an experience. One, just being in a different city with Reds from all over the world. I mean, it was phenomenal. And like I said, I love singing, and I love that sort of culture of supporting the Reds in that way. So it was pre-match and the concert vibes and just enjoying all that and talking to Reds from all over the world. And then obviously, the game itself, my heart sunk, obviously, when Mo got injured. And I think there was a sense in the crowd, prior to the kickoff, we had Dua Lipa and, One Kiss is all it takes. It was brilliant. And everybody's up for it, the singing. We sort of outnumbered the Madrid supporters, etc. And they're a lot quieter. I'm not sure if anybody's managed to watch a Madrid game, or it may be difficult to pick up on TV, but they were a bit more subdued than us. And obviously, we are quite a vocal crowd. So we were really up for it. I think players were up for it. And then obviously that happened. And I think, that was maybe a sign of things to come. We didn't stop believing, we didn't stop singing. But, obviously as the goals started going in, and then, the nature of the goals, with Karius, and obviously we know that there may have been concussion there and so forth. So we learned that after the game. But whilst you're watching, you're just thinking to yourself, geez, what is going on here? And it was really devastating. It was devastating, to have been at the game and lost. And I remember walking out the ground, and I hardly said, I think, 2 words to my mate. We just kind of just walked, and we were just walking out the ground, and eventually we were trying to, catch an Uber or whatever. And it was interesting because that night I also didn't sleep properly. I was devastated, like I said. And the next day was very interesting because we met another group of guys that we were sort of connected with, and we just went to a restaurant, and we had some food, and we were having a few drinks. And I suppose those few drinks turned into a lot of drinks because we were, and the reason I'm mentioning this is because it wasn't just us. It was the entire city. So wherever you went, you'd find Liverpool supporters. And obviously we were talking about the game, but there was this almost steely kind of determination then that was like, well, we lost this one. This is the sign of things to come. This Liverpool side is going to go on and do more. They're going to win more. They're going to win titles, or they're going to win trophies. And it was interesting, this belief. And the singing then didn't stop, or the supporting didn't stop, because it was happening everywhere. So in the restaurant we were in, I remember singing the Luis Garcia song. It's one of my favorites as well. And then the whole restaurant, there were so many reds everywhere. The whole restaurant, you could just hear a Liverpool song. So there was like a defiance. I think that's a good description. A defiant kind of like, well, you got us this time. And now it's interesting because, like you said, well, we've drawn Madrid, and I think we owe them some revenge, eh?
Yes, that you speak about the defiant atmosphere, right? We know football is very unpredictable, but within Liverpool Football Club, it doesn't matter how bad it is at that moment. We as supporters, we always have that belief that might happen. The only time when we stop is when it's over and there's nothing left. But
yeah,
while we had a chance, we will always believe. So when we drew Madrid, I felt like, oh, this is it. This is the one I was looking for. Even though we're bad, because I know they're not in a good space at the moment, but I felt this is the one. This is the one that I wanted. This is the one just to lay the Kiev goes to rest. Because in that way, we were on top of them. Then Salah got injured. Then Mane brought us back into the game. Then Karius just knocked the wind out of us. Unfortunately, Karius, we were, I'm not going to mention that, but Karius knocked the wind out of us. But when I saw that draw today, I thought, look, we have a bad season, but that you speak about that defiance atmosphere, and that's a similar sort of thing. I felt like we can do this, and this is the one that can propel us. Or we don't speak about what else can happen, but this is the one that I wanted. I took anybody in that room. I was hoping it would be Real Madrid.
It was interesting because on one of the chat groups, I'm sure you're also on a lot of Liverpool chat groups. I had actually said, we should probably draw Madrid. I think we do owe them something. Yeah. And I think it was the nature of the defeat. If they had just purely out-footballed us, and once again, Liverpool supporters are very cultured. We would have probably clapped them off at the end. But there was, right at the final whistle, there was just a sense of, what's going on here? It's obviously Sergio Ramos, the nature of that tackle. Obviously, we didn't even probably realize the extent of what he had done. It happened so quickly. And you don't get the opportunity to watch these replays on TV and stuff. So the guys that are watching at home, you guys probably knew, hey, listen, that was really out of line what he did. And obviously, right, like you said, Sadio scored, and we never stopped believing, right, up until the final whistle. But as those goals started going in as well, and then knowing what we know now about Karius, there was just a sense of, but they actually didn't out-football us. It was kind of these, I don't know, weird circumstances that you know uh, resulted in us losing. And I think we want to set that right. We want to set the record straight that we here, and we decide that it's not going to just lie down.
Yeah.
And we want that mantle back.
Definitely. It's similar to you always have this lingering fear. Remember the
Yeah.
Champions League versus Chelsea, and then we waited for another title running to get Chelsea, and then we won them, and then we won the title. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of tension, and look, majority of this current squad are the ones that started the KF final, so they'll be up for it as well. This is just going to be interesting. Exactly.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see more on that field. I think he's going to be raring to go. I think he's going to be firing on all cylinders. Well, everybody will, because I think there was a sense of that injustice. So I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see the guys. I think they're going to be massively up for this. I know our season's been reignited to an extent, but I can't wait for this, because I think this is going to really take it to the next level. And I think if we obviously get through those two legs, there's the possibilities are endless there in terms of the end result, potentially winning the UCL. But I don't want to very superstitious. So not too much about it.
We have a rule on the LFC group. We don't do predictions anymore. After John Barnes did a prediction, we just ban predictions. So we take it.
Yeah. So I must just say, and another interesting thing, talking about revenge, every one of those sides that are still in it probably feel they owe us a bit of revenge. So I don't know, but look, I must say, I think the draw has been quite good. I don't know what other Reds feel about it. I mean, there's going to be differing opinions, but like you said, Real Madrid's probably a really good draw for us.
Yeah.
Obviously, City are playing Dortmund. The way kind of Haaland's playing, etc. We know City's playing well, but that potentially eliminates one good side there. You got Bayern and PSG. That's a mammoth. That's a gigantic battle there. You potentially have an elimination of another big side, and then those winners play each other, which is a further elimination. So I mean, look, we've got a fairly good route, but I mean, to be the best, you have to beat the best. Let's make sort of no qualms about that. There's no sort of easy games, and I think Jurgen will always say that as well. But it's probably the more favorable of them.
Look, it's interesting to say that we were looking for Real Madrid, and then the rest of the guys were looking for us. PSG, they have a guys against us. Bayern Munich, definitely. Porto, we've been looking every time they're in the Champions League. I'm not going to even mention Man City. They have a guys in the Champions League.
Yeah, somebody's going to bring up a bus.
Yeah, and then there's the old Chelsea rivalry from the
ghost goal.
Twice so they have a guys against us.
They still talk about that ghost goal. It's crazy, but anyway, Jose is still going to hang up.
It's so sweet.
That was Luis Garcia.
Yeah, I wish ball was around that time, and those controversial balls this season where the ball is like 1 centimeter over the line, or then they say, yeah, but it's 1 centimeter. How can that be a goal? That would have been brilliant, like us against Man City. Why? Because the majority of the ball was over the line, but it's just a small piece, and then they say it's not goal. I wish something like that could have happened, but ball wasn't around that time. Knowledge wasn't around that time. But okay, so we're running out of time. Sershin, I want to know because you have to earn, right? Let's
Yeah.
not go around the bush. The Bernabeu is a historic stadium. It's a everybody wants to play there. Everybody dreams of playing there. Steven Gerrard is the only one that, from not the only one Liverpool player, but he's one of our legends that didn't have the opportunity to play there because Mr. Rogers decided to keep him on the bench that day. And he always spoke about how he never got the opportunity to play there. So knowing how historic that stadium is and what type of game it is, from the fringe players that we have in our squad, Maurice Williams, Nate Phillips, Nico Williams, Curtis Jones, and I can say Keller, but I think he would be picked because he's the second choice goalkeeper. So I'm going to
Yeah.
exclude Keller.
Right.
So from the four, Curtis Jones, Nico Williams, Nate Phillips, and Reese Williams, who would you choose on the bench? You can only choose two to make the bench, or if you want to start the Real Madrid
Mm.
Bernabeu. Who would you choose?
So Keller is an obvious one. I think he's also a really good goalkeeper, and I think he's got some really good years ahead of him. Obviously, a lot of development to come. And then no brainer, Curtis Jones. The reason for that, you need a scouser in the team, right? So some of our biggest Champions League games pulled out of the fire with Steven Gerrard. You got to look at Trent playing his, as young as he is, playing those Champions League finals. So absolutely. And then you got to talk about his footballing ability. Obviously dynamic, confident on the ball, can pick a pass, can score a goal, can dribble a bit, can hold the ball. So he's really got a great skill set. And I think it'll be a great experience for him because I can see him obviously taking up a more senior role in this Liverpool team, provided that he is consistent in his playing, in his performances, in his development. He's going to play a senior role in the side, and we want to see that. We want to see him develop. It's unfair to compare anybody to Stevie, right? Whether it's Trent or him or whatever, they're their own people. But absolutely, you want to see him develop into this homegrown talent that we all see, and I think it'll be a brilliant experience for him. Imagine playing at the all-time sort of leading, UCL winners. It is Real Madrid, and the Bernabeu is a special place. There's no doubt about it. I think it'll be a massive learning curve as well for him. Even if he's on the bench, just being in that squad, training for that game, doing all the groundwork for that game, it would be massive. It would be massive for him, and I think he'd only sort of grow from that. So for me, yeah, it's absolute no-brainer. Curtis.
Curtis Jones, I love Curtis Jones.
Yeah. I must say, I think all the other guys have done well to step up in such a tough season. Everybody's spoken at length about the injury, so I don't want to go into that. But Neko, or maybe he hasn't had to step up as much, but Nat, Race, they've all stepped up when they've needed to, and they've done reasonably well. So for young players to sort of have the mettle of stepping up to those first team games when we've needed them. Obviously, not all the results have gone our way, not all those games, but they will learn from that. They will learn from those adversities, those losses, and I'm hoping the whole squad does. Actually, to be honest, I know when Jurgen first came in, we obviously had a development period, and then we've been really successful. But like with anything in life, football is cyclic, and you kind of have to have a little bit of a down to learn from, to grow, to develop, to rejuvenate, and hopefully then we go on for another maybe 3 or 4 seasons where we're dominating again. And and you kind of you can't exclude the exceptional circumstances, COVID, not having fans in the ground, the injuries, all of that kind of stuff has just snowballed. It's one thing after the next. Playing players out of position, etc. So absolutely, yeah. Sorry, I think I've gone on a little bit long there.
You hit the nail on the head, and I just wanted to say Curtis Jones, I absolutely love him. You can see he's going to be a massive talent for us. And his age, the composure he has. Look, Trent came in the squad. in the defense. In what he basically, in Robbo reinvented, not reinvented, but they added what I mentioned to the fullbacks. But Curtis Jones having to step into that midfield that has been so successful for years, that could make or break a young player, but he went into this so seamlessly. And there's occasions where you can see the confidence in him. I mean, the runs that he makes with the ball from the halfway line. For a 19-20-year-old player to be able to do that, I mean, I'm my age, I won't be able to do that. I'll be shivering in my boots every time. But that boy is just confident. That's why I love him. So you have Curtis Jones, and who's your next one?
Yeah, the keeper.
Oh, but we said Keller will choose himself.
Oh, you're saying that he's okay, so he's a given. Probably not. I mean, just looking at probably just looking at the games that he's obviously stepped in now, and I suppose the recent games as well. Just a bit of solidity in the back there.
And look, if our centre backs miraculously come back, we have Nat Phillips on the bench. You got 15 minutes to go. You just want to defend a bit. You're tired. Who's better at hitting the ball away? Each ball. I mean, that guy never misses a ball. He's hitting a ball.
Yeah.
No warrants him to be on that pitch because he almost went to Swansea this season and that deal fell through. And he wasn't stupid. Came back, did the work. We were unfortunate in the centre back position, but then again, it's an opportunity for him. And he grabbed it with both hands. And you can see what it means to him because he puts in every performance he puts in. It's you know what it reminds me of? You know the 2005 Champions League, the Jamie Carragher type of defender. You know, you see
Yeah. No nonsense.
Yeah.
No nonsense. No nonsense defending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it reminds
absolutely, and you need that sometimes. You need somebody that's just willing to go in and just put their body on the line for a block, or get in for a tackle. You know, yes, we play wonderful football and intricate football and all of those kind of things. But I think where we at right now is we want to stop those goals going in. You know, we have been sort of letting in quite a lot of goals. We want to just plug that gap, and allow the players, allow the midfielders to do what they need to do, allow the forwards to do what they need to do. I think his time at Stuttgart has probably served him well. I mean, the Bundesliga is a robust league as well. So that's probably served him quite well. But he's got the right stature for that centre back role as well. And yeah, no nonsense defending, absolutely.
That's it. Sershin, thank you very much for coming on the show. I'll leave all your details in the description for the videos so that our rates that want to join your sessions can do so. Thank you very much for doing this. It's been awesome. I always love talking football to you, and I'm looking forward to the other sessions that you guys are going to set up. And like I said, let's do this. Let's help the Liverpool online community in South Africa grow, because look, we support just as hard and as passionate as every single fan in the UK, but we don't have platforms to show how we support. And that's what we're currently doing now, what you guys are doing, what we're trying to do. I think this is a step in the right direction because we need to show that Liverpool is a big deal here in South Africa, and we are very passionate fans.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Couldn't agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. We wouldn't feel out of place being in Anfield, being at a Champions League final, just the kind of support that we have. I've seen it firsthand, you know, massive support. I just want to say thank you for having me on. You guys are doing some great work as well. We wish you well in your endeavors, and yeah, let's grow the community. Let's show how strong the Liverpool support here is in SA. So thanks, John, and you'll never walk alone.